Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to the 12 tribes. Shalom, Yasha, right? I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahusha, Barakatham, right? Shalom, shalom, right? Double honors to the elders that have been right? Shalom. Commandments, their ability. This chapter talks about a lot of signs of the times, right? A lot of signs of the end of the world, right? Or the end of the world as we know it, because we know that the end of this world means the beginning of the new one, right? Let's go to Second Esdras, right? And Second Esdras is part of the Bible, right? Second Esdras chapter 6 and verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the time? Right? Verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, right? So, Jacob and Esau, right? They were the two sons that Isaac had, right? They're the two sons that Isaac had. So, Isaac, he begat Jacob and Esau. So, Jacob is the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel, right? His name, God later changed to Israel. That's why you have Israelites, right? Descendants of Israel. And on the contrary, you have Esau, right? He is the father of the Edomites, right? So that's where Edomites being the so-called white man, right? And Israelites being the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? So it says, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the beginning, is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth, right? So Esau, because Esau runs this world. So end of the world as we know it, because we know that when this world ends, right, a new world will appear, right, which is the kingdom of the Israelites, right? So let's get into it. Mark 13 and 1. And as he went out of the temple, one of his disciples saith unto him, Master, see what manner of stones and what buildings are here. Right, because they were pointing out, because this is in the time of ancient Israel, right? So in ancient Israel, you had a lot of buildings. You had the temple still standing, right? You had the temple and the other glorious buildings surrounding it, right? So they pointed out that they pointed out the temple, right? Verse 2. And Yahushua answering said unto him, seest thou these great buildings? There shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down, right? Meaning that it's all going to be it's all going to be crumbled, right? It's going to be destroyed, desolate, right? Verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives over against the temple, Peter and James and John and Andrew asked him privately, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall all these things shall be fulfilled? Basically, they're asking him, what's going to be, what are some signs, right, we can see in order to know that's the end, right? In order to know of the end, right? And Yahushua answering them began to say, take heed lest any man deceive you. Take heed meaning to pay attention, right? Be aware. Verse 6. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Because you have a lot of false Christs out there, right? You even have people trying to be or act as if they were, right? As if they were. wars. So we're already hearing of wars and rumors of wars, right? Hey, just just a few months ago, right? There was that tension between Iran and the U.S., right? That was a rumor of war, right? The tensions between North Korea and America, the tensions between Russia and America, right? A lot of tensions in this world. You still have civil war. We're in the end times, right? And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled. So Yahushua said, be ye not troubled. Don't be troubled. Don't trip on it, right? For such things must be, but the end shall not be yet. So these things must come to pass and need to come to pass, right? In order for the Father, Yahweh, right? In order for the Father's plan to be executed properly, right? And it says, but the end shall not be yet, right? Because this is just the beginning of sorrows, right? And then it says, verse 8, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, right? There's going to be, so nation shall rise against nation, right? This also is going into race riots, right? Because if we go to Second Esdras, chapter 15, and verse, right? Salakia. So it says, Second Esdras, chapter 15, and verse 15, right? For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, meaning that. So what's the sword? The sword is a modern day weapon, right? The modern day weapon is the gun, right? No one's going around using swords like they used to, right? Now you use a gun, right? So that's the modern day sword, right? So it says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, right? And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands, and guns in their hands. Might even be swords, knives, whatever. It's just talking about weapons, right? And then it's saying, and one people shall stand up and fight against another. One people against another people, right? That's race riots, right? The Chinese versus the Arabs, whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be race riots going on, right? People sticking to their own race and nation, So, so those are race riots in the scriptures, right? It says, for a nation shall rise against nation. And this is also talking about, a nation within itself, like Russia, right? China, Japan, right? These major nations, France, Great Britain, America, right? For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places. Earthquakes in diverse places. You just had an earthquake in Chile, I believe, right? It might have been Chile, or right? You have earthquakes going around all the time, right? In diverse places meaning in multiple areas, right? Diverse areas, right? All around, basically, right? And these earthquakes are also caused by those missiles too, right? Let's read on. And there shall be famines and troubles. Famines, right? Not just one famine, but famines, right? So famines meaning what? There's going to be famines all around this earth, right? A famine is a shortage of food and water, right? But another famine that we see in the scriptures is a famine of the word, A famine of the word is a lack of the scriptures, right? Because people are going to be going to and fro trying to find the scriptures, trying to find the prophets, trying to find and seek Yahweh Bahashem Yahusha, but shall not find him, or shall not find his word or his prophets, right? Famine. So, and it says, and there shall be famines and troubles, right? These are the beginning of sorrows, right? So all this that's going on is just the beginning, right? Verse 9, but take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils, right? So take heed to yourselves, meaning what? Actually examine yourself, right? It says, but take heed to yourselves, right? Pay attention. That's what take heed means. Pay attention and examine yourself, right? Look, the Lord said for us to examine ourselves. Let's go to Sirach, right? Sirach 18 and 20. Before judgment, because judgment is already come to the earth, but that day of judgment, right? Before judgment, examine thyself, right? So we all should be examining ourselves in these last days, right? We always could improve something, right, in this truth. Nobody's 100% perfect in this truth, right? We all come short of the glory of the Most High, right? Sometimes we lack a little faith, right? But we always got to examine ourselves, right? And in the day of visitation, thou shalt find mercy, right? Now let's go to right, 13 and 5. Examine yourselves, right? That's what Paul is saying. Examine yourselves. How do you examine yourself, right? You look at yourself in a spiritual mirror, right? Or you can even look at yourself and how you could improve, right? Things that you are doing good, right? Things that you got already, but things that you could also improve or get better at. You know what I'm saying? It says, whether ye be in the faith, prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves? Don't you know yourselves, right? How that Yahweh Shah Mahashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. But verse 6, but I trust that ye shall know that we are not reprobates, right? So don't be a reprobate. You know what I'm saying? Now let's go to verse 9. But take heed to yourselves, for they shall deliver you up to councils, and in the synagogues ye shall be beaten, and ye shall be brought before rulers and kings for my sake, for a testimony against them. So who is this talking about? It's talking about the Hebrew Israelites, right? It's not talking about these Catholics or these Christians, these atheists that are going to be selling out, all right, in the day of judgment, right? On the day of the Lord, take the chip or, sell out, right? Just consent, right? These are talking about the Hebrew Israelites, right? We're going to be caught, some of us, we're going to be caught and beaten, and we're going to be brought before rulers, right? Some brothers may escape that. Some brothers, it's their lot to experience that, and go through that. Some brothers may just be hidden, by the protection of the Most High, Verse 10, and the gospel must first be published among all nations, meaning that this truth is going to be worldwide, and then the end shall come. You know what I'm saying? Verse 11, but when they shall lead you and deliver you up, and this truth is worldwide, right? It is going worldwide because this truth is on YouTube. YouTube is worldwide, right? At a click of a button, click of a few buttons, you can find the truth. You can find eternal life, right? So this truth is worldwide, right? Verse 11. But when they shall lead you and deliver you up, take no thought there beforehand what ye shall speak, neither do ye premeditate. So the Lord is saying, look, when they lead us up to be afflicted, right? Don't take thought beforehand what ye shall speak, right? So don't think about what you're gonna say. Don't think of this speech that you're gonna perform, right? Don't even think about what you're gonna say, right? But whatsoever shall be given you in that hour, that speak ye, for it is not ye that speak, but the Holy Spirit, right? And brothers have to remember that, right? These are signs. These signs are written for a reason. Yahweh Shah said this for a reason, right? Now the verse 12. Now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son, right? And this brother that it's talking about, it could be your blood brother, right? It could also be your brother in your camp, right? Or in your congregation, someone that you break bread with, right? And it could also be someone of your own nation that you don't know, but it's still your brother, you know what I'm saying? Now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son, and children shall rise up against their parents, shall cause them to be put to death. So a lot of that is going to be happening, right? Verse 13, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, right? We're already starting to get hated, right? They already listed us, right, in the Southern Poverty Law Center as a hate group, even though we haven't hurted anybody, right? We're not killing anybody, right? But they labeled us with the KKK, right? And we're already starting to be hated, right? But this is just prophecy, right? It must come to pass. And it says, but he that shall endure unto the end, right? We got to be enduring to the end, right? The same shall be saved. So when we start getting hated for all men for my name's sake, for Yahweh's sake, right? That's one of the signs, right? That's one of the signs that Yahweh is near, right? Verse 14. But when ye shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet, standing where it ought not, let him that readeth understand. Then let them that be in Judea flee to the mountains. Right now it's talking about 70 AD, right? Verse 15. And let him that is on the housetop not go down into the house, neither enter therein to take anything out of his house, right? And let them, because when the Romans were coming, they were coming fast, right? So Yahweh said, just look, it's going to be a long journey. So just go ahead and go, right? Because we fled, if you know the history, we fled into West Africa, right? Some of us, we fled like the book says, Babylon to Timbuktu. I recommend brothers and sisters get that, right? Because it's a book full of our history, basically, right? So it says not just our history, but history that is not really well known, It states that 1 million, right, black Jews fled into West Africa, right, out of Israel, coming out of 70 AD, right? And then it says, and let him that is in the field not turn back again for to take up his garment. But woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. Woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. Because if you have a baby in those times, your baby's really going to be slowing you down. You know what I'm saying? Verse 18, and pray ye that your flight be not in winter, right? Because in the winter it's cold, right? In the winter, you got to find shelter. You got to find fire, right? Some cases you could even freeze if it's too cold, Verse 19, for in those days shall be affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the creation which the Most High created unto this time, now this shall be, right? Because that day is going to be none like it, right? Doesn't it say in Jeremiah 30 that that day it is none like it? It is even the times of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. See that? And then it says, right? For in those days shall be affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the creation, which the Most High created unto this time. Now this shall be. Because look, if we go to Daniel chapter 12 and 1, it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince was standing for the children of thy people. Michael was a real angel in the spiritual realm, or in the heavens, right? He is a real angel. He's the chief angel on the right hand side, right? And he is the righteous angel too, right? He is a so-called archangel, right? So he's going to stand for the children of the Most High's people, which are Israel, right? And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. So there's going to be a time of trouble it's not going to be like any other trouble since there has been a nation, right? And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that is found written in the book, right? And the book is talking about the book of life, right? That you read in Revelation, I believe, right? If I'm mistaken, Slovakia, right? But that's what I think it's talking about, right? Or referring to. So let's keep going, right? So it says, all right? Verse 20. Mark 13 and 20. And except that the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh shall be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he hath chosen, he hath shortened the days. So the Lord is speeding up the times right now, right? For the elect's sake, the Lord is speeding up the times. That's why a lot of people, they say, hey, time is going by fast. You know what I'm saying? It's going by faster and faster, right? So, the days are flying by, and also in the days of the Lord's, or the Lord's wrath, in the time of Jacob's trouble, time is going to be going by fast, and the days are going to be shortened, right? Verse 21. So when you feel that, that's another sign, right? Verse 21. And then if any man shall say to you, lo, here is Mahashiach, or lo, he is there, believe him not. And brothers and sisters have to remember this, right? Because if someone comes up to you and says, look, there's Yahushua over there. Look, he's in the mountains. Look, he's in this house, right? Don't believe it, right? And this is a sign, right? For false Christs and false prophets shall rise, and shall show signs and wonders to seduce, if it were possible, even the elect. Right? So a lot of false Christs and false prophets are going to arise, right? And show signs and wonders. And many people are going to believe that, those signs and wonders, right? We don't know exactly what those signs and wonders are. We know about Project Bluebeam, right? Project Bluebeam is basically a project of where they basically fake the Lord's coming, right? They fake the Lord's coming, right? Verse 23. And take ye heed, behold, I have aforetold you all things. But in those days after the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in the heaven shall be shaken. So when you see after this tribulation, right, and you look up in the sky, right, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. Well, this is twofold, right? This could actually be talking about literally, but we know that the scriptures, has a symbolic and a parabolic language to it, right? So when it's talking about the stars of heaven, it's talking about the missiles, right? Because when you look at a star falling, right, it looks like a missile in the distance, right? And it says, and the powers that are in the heaven shall be shaken. And Salaki, the sun, right? The sun that is talking about is knowledge and wisdom, right? Because the sun and the moon is referring to the knowledge and wisdom. So knowledge and wisdom shall be hid in those days, right? And Salakia, I'm just going through this pretty quickly, right? You got to pay attention to the signs, right? Verse 27, and then shall he send his angels, and shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the uttermost part of the earth to the uttermost part of heaven. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. Slakia. So it says, now learn a parable of the fig tree when her branch is yet tender, and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is near. So this is a sign of when the fig tree is growing its leaves, right? Because when a fig tree becomes tender and is sprouting out leaves, then you will know that summer is near, is coming, right? Verse 29, so ye in like manner, when ye shall see these things come to pass, know that it is nigh, even at the doors. What things is he talking about? All these signs that we're reading over here, right? All these signs that we're reading, when you start to see those things come to pass, you know that what? Know that it is nigh, even at the doors. Know that what is nigh? The day of the Lord, the day of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua, that great and terrible day, right? Verse 30, verily I say unto you, that this generation shall not pass till all these things be done, right? Because the Lord deals with regeneration, right? Verse 31, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and that hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels which are in heaven, neither the Son, but the Father, right? So that day and that hour knoweth no man, not even the angels, not even Yahushua, only the Father, Yahweh, right? No one knows the hour. So anyone that tells you that, hey, the Lord's coming back this day, the Lord's coming back, but we can kind of speculate, we can kind of speculate and guess, but that's it. We don't know the exact date. We don't know the exact time. We don't know the exact year, right? He can come back today. He can come back next year, right? It's all according to the will and power and plan of the Father, right? Verse 33, take ye heed, watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is, right? So watch what? Watch the prophecies, right? Watch for the signs, right? Watch and pray, right? Pray, right? Pray for deliverance. Pray for more faith, right? Pray that you're more adapt or more better. You're able to discern the signs and the times. Watch and pray, for you know not when the time is. You don't know when the Lord's coming, right? Verse 34, for the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants, and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh. Slakia. It says, watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at even, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning. So you don't know when your house is coming, right? He can come at night. He can come at the midnight, right? He can come early in the morning. He can come, just later in the morning. You know what I'm saying? He can come whenever he wants, right? Or whenever the Father sends him. Verse 36, lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping, right? And this is actually talking about sleeping, right? Every man needs sleep. So what is he talking about? Catch you sleeping, right? It's talking about catch you sleeping like catch you slipping, basically. You know, you're sleeping, not paying attention to the prophecies, right? You're not going as hard as you can, right? You're kind of lackadaisical in this truth. Hey, you don't want the Lord to come back, catch you, binge watching Netflix for 2 days, right? So remember, always watch and pray and be on your toes, because you don't know when it will come. All right. Verse 37, and when I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. Right? So with that, I like to give Call Hala Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahusha Brakatham. All right? And pay attention and watch the prophecies, Israel. Right? You can also read Matthew 24. It has, I think, more signs too. Right? With that, I like to call all Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahusha. What? Shalom.